Dream Warrior 77.
Back at it again.
This is the fifth time we've done this intro. Mark just nailed it. Mark said the movie bombed and we're bombing with the intro. It's a great wall. Mark's here. Let's just hit that music. Oh my god, that was so painful.
The Great Wall was a great disappointment.
Yeah, are you okay? I felt like that was a little painful getting into the intro.
Dude, like I just said before, I don't, because it was such just a mess of a movie.
We were excited when we put it on.
Yeah, and I even saw part of it. Was kind of like, oh, let's see what happens with this.
Because we were going through what HBO has available. We wanted to watch something new that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
And
it has been out for a while too. It's not like it's a brand new. It's been out for like a year at least. Right?
Yeah, been out for a while. Big movie. We knew it was a special effects driven piece.
Yeah.
Which is whatever.
Still in our wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, I think most movies are special effects in our wheelhouse. But again,
I said it on purpose.
Yeah. But again, too.
That was pun intended.
We jumped in with open arms, bright eyes.
Yeah.
Completely glass to say full,
because we don't really we kind of almost are always opposite of the atypical movie reviewers mindset of a movie, and we prove ourselves right 9.5 out of 10 times on that.
We just want to sit down and have a good time watching a movie.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of one of the baselines that I preach on Dream Warriors.
Yeah,
which is, if you're not expecting to have a good time, you most likely won't, because you'll just kind of go in from a cynical standpoint, and you have a pre-constructed idea of what you think what you think the movie is. But look, at the end of the day, let me just continue real quick. This movie, Great Wall, not that great of a plot.
Not even the word "great" shouldn't even be in the name of the movie.
Yeah.
It's so misleading. That's a bait and switch if I've ever heard of one.
But I think at the end of the day, I still wouldn't trash this movie as harshly as
I want to,
as everyone has. Yeah, look, I think sometimes it's fun to want to trash a movie when you're not fully engaged while you're watching it. But
we try to be engaged in it. The movie itself.
Well, I just mean through the course of the movie, you get less and less interested in it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And you and I were calling it. I think we called every single plot twist outside the creature that was inside the palace.
Yeah,
escaping.
Yeah,
and I think that would have been a boss move. So, but technically, I mean, they did do what they wanted to with it, right? They were able to get it to the queen and blow up the queen.
I mean, essentially, it still did what we called it was going to do. It was still going to,
Yeah. So, would you say that this movie is an ancient Chinese retelling of Independence Day, but without any of the
without the actual ships?
Yeah, or
everything minus the ships is the same.
Without the lovable characters and the comedy and the feeling of dread that's in Independence Day. This is eventually a hive alien invasion where people have to fight off a swarm of aliens with a swarm of humans, and at the end they blow up the alien queen, killing all the other drones, and then the two best friends ride away into the sunset, kind of just like Independence Day. I think that they're very. I was watching it. I'm just.
Now I'm thinking about it. But see, and the crazy thing is though, the only thing that debunks that theory or that comparison is in their explanation. Every 60 years, these things attack.
Yeah,
and then go back.
Which is weird because did they say unless they kill the queen? Because I couldn't follow all the.
No, so what they were saying is their explanation, which is pardon me if this sounds extremely racist, but it's a Western mindset of men are greedy, so these things come every 60 years to remind us. So an alien race brought by a meteor know to come out every 60 years exactly to attack you because you're greedy?
Yeah.
And if you already know this, then or if you're not greedy, then why are they attacking you?
Well, yeah,
It don't make any sense.
Well, I think the movie was struggling to
Explain.
make a philosophical argument.
Yeah.
The philosophical argument didn't come through. The Eastern.
Well, yeah, it did. It was trust.
Yeah. Well,
It was trust and greed.
Well, no, yeah,
bad.
yeah. Well, I don't mean that it wasn't there to be like readable. I just mean it didn't come through and like you didn't believe it. You
No,
didn't,
yeah.
like,
It was
feel
forced.
it.
It was-
yeah. You
yeah.
just felt like okay. You,
100% I agree
You
with
guys
that, yeah.
just like said a bunch of things. I thought.
You're filling words and space with in between action scenes.
Yeah. So let's
That's really what you're doing.
let's breeze through the plot. We have two best friends. One of them's Born Supremacy. The other one's the guy from
Game of Thrones.
the GOT guy.
And Narcos.
And Narcos, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the heck that guy's name is. So we got two best friends.
His name is.
Two best friends. They find themselves in the wrong spot. They get captured by the Chinese. They're held.
Well, they make it to the. They actually make it to the wall. So they kill one of these things
Yeah.
on their journey to get to the wall in the first place to get
Yes,
black
yes.
powder.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And they're trying to hunt gunpowder.
Yeah.
Which is.
They call it black powder.
Yeah, which is
it's been referred to that for a lot of other
Yeah.
movies are referred
Well,
to it like that.
Here's the thing, though. When you establish gunpowder this early in the movie, and gunpowder isn't your dominant weapon against these things,
Yeah.
like by wholesale, you take me out of it because because
let's just go this far. We called out. They're referencing all these other tactics that they have to fight these things at the wall.
Any tactic.
And the first scene that we see,
Yeah.
which is the most ridiculous thing when you see what these things can do.
Yeah.
Like their operating capacity. The one got hit in the middle of the head with an axe.
Yeah.
Thrown full force, and it's still battle active.
Yeah.
Because
It's still battle active.
its eyes are on the side.
right.
And if you don't shoot it in the eye, these little ass eyeballs.
Yeah,
It doesn't die.
It's almost like video game too.
Yeah.
Like, you know where like
It's
you,
like
see,
Doom.
you see the little target and you gotta hit the fucking
Yeah.
you gotta hit the target. Yeah, so
It's like a Doom character.
So there was a lot. So you and I, when this movie was gearing up, okay, you and I started to get into the pageantry of the movie. The colors, the armor, the design work.
That was that was the best part about it.
The military structure, and
Yep.
you're like, yo, these okay.
Like the archers were red, the generals were
Yeah,
black,
and I thought
the foot soldiers were purple.
and I was all bored this movie too because when the two best friends finally get captured and they're held on the wall prisoner,
While they're watching this.
which is weird because like you don't have a brig, like you don't have
Yeah.
a place to bring these guys, like whatever
Or something, yeah.
yeah, because even in
Or dangle his bait or something.
because even in Pirates of the Caribbean on the pirate ships, there's prisons.
Yeah.
There's like a jail on the free.
And half
you're-
these ships have
you're-
huge holes in them.
You're in the middle of the ocean and you got
A prison.
You got a jail. You got some place to hold someone.
Well, the entire time, they're never in a jail. They're like in their own room.
Yeah, they are.
And
yeah,
and they can come and go as they please. And I'm like, what the
yeah. So
the whole premise of like why they're being how they're being kept
So-
was really not well thought out or explained.
yeah. So much of this too is like I said. So to breeze through the plot to try and do this one more time. Two best friends get captured by the Chinese. They're held at the wall. They're held at the wall right when a giant horde of these creature things, will just attack the wall, and then they break free, and then you see how cool the two cool guys can kill everything.
Yeah.
And
Who
then
had no training and didn't know these things were coming.
yeah, no idea, had no idea what they were, and then at that point they join the army. Right, like
well, they're welcomed. They're welcomed. Their skill, or they're welcomed into it.
They become like
essentially.
consultants or advisors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to say, consultants are always
Yeah.
more valued than the grunts.
Okay. So and then at this point, we have a betrayal. We have the creature things getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
They find a way through the wall, and then we have a race to
The capital.
to blow up the queen, to kill everything else, because the creature things have outsmarted the Chinese people, and which is really weird because I thought
Chinese are good at math.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's.
They have elevators inside the wall. They have elevators inside the wall.
I thought the technology inside the wall
was better than the defenses for the
right.
wall.
Yeah.
Well, until they show you the last wall defense scene, and they've got steel scissors,
the blades. Yeah,
dude,
that was cool.
Why aren't you doing that the first time?
Yeah, and
what's going on here?
And you know what? Too, the one thing I liked that I really my impression of this movie was that there's ancient mysteries in China, centuries mystery, centuries
thousands
old.
of years of undiscovered history that was never explained.
Right, and that's why this was a fantasy take on that, kind of like how National Treasure does that to U.S. history, where it has this really high end fantasy element.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm thinking all right, they're going to do cool things with the wall that would explain why the wall is there, and these things that we have would have long forgotten by now. But the wall was going to have all these tricks, so they kind of did it with when the wall opens up and the blades are slicing them.
Yep.
And then there's that hidden door that kind of just
pops
breaks
at the
away.
bottom.
Yeah, and you're oh, okay. But then that's as far as the cool wall stuff goes.
Minus the elevators.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest part still.
Yeah, and you have these creatures that can build walls of themselves. They just pile on top of each other,
like World War Z.
World War Z, and they do it.
Remind me of,
they do it very quickly, and at that point, I was just all right. Once I saw them start piling up the wall, I was all right. Now we're going to see wall defenses and tactical things that the soldiers are doing. But it's and I think that's if they did more with that stuff.
Yep.
The movie would have been way more just interesting and fun because that's the gimmick for the movie.
Yeah.
It's called The Great Wall, and it literally is mostly a wall.
Yeah, and there's
it's just a barrier.
Any person who's seen a conglomerate of these types of movies in whatever setting, you know you have to be able to know or make the educated guess that a major plot twist is getting over or through the wall. You know it's going to happen somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So that's okay. You know it's coming. Not a big deal when it happens, but it's not only do they not make it even interesting or show you how it happened.
Yeah.
So you don't even know how these things broke through the wall. Number one.
Well,
you don't even know what happened. You don't see them doing it. You don't know how it happens.
Well, they just find a tunnel.
Yeah, they just dug a tunnel for the corner of the wall.
They're just oh, okay.
Really? That was it. That was it.
That was all it took. Yeah. And if these creatures were so intelligent, which they kind of are, why do because they set traps and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
With two of them. Two of them set a trap for 40 people.
Yeah. So why would you only dig one tunnel?
Right.
Or
why did it take you to lose half or a third of your sources at the wall to come back and do it again later?
And the one point I made with this movie when we started to really get into it was when the first creature got over the wall.
Yeah.
It just started tearing people apart.
Yep.
And I'm almost it's unbelievable if they're that hard to kill because there's literally thousands of them. There's a horde.
Oh, there's millions that look by the
right.
The way
it's
there's
just an endless ocean of them, and then it's just and then I'm it's just they, and then I thought maybe some of the soldiers would have fantasy elements to them,
yeah,
their ability to
mystical move.
Things, and then you're okay, that's how it's going to equalize.
And the only one that they really hone in on is the guy who is the worst soldier and gets nervous every time he's in any situation. I'm
right.
What? And he keeps getting more nervous as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
I'm half of it, he wasn't even fighting the thing.
Yeah,
he's just dropping stuff and they're flipping out on him. I'm why is this the guy you're honing in on in this army?
I just don't get. I just still don't get when you have an enemy that is literally not creating lines. It's not creating lines. It's not creating distance between those lines. It's not having divisions or segments. It's just literally just everything piled and running towards one place. No strategic positioning at all.
Yeah.
And if this is your enemy and you know their behavior on a military, this is easy.
Yeah.
On a military level to defeat. especially if you have gunpowder.
Well, yeah, this is the other thing. So,
Like-
and like you, the one like main general who eventually, I'll give the plot, or I'll give the spoiler alert. This guy dies like in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, what
So-
really didn't carry over well at all.
No.
They do a weird funeral at him at night
Yeah.
while they're at war.
Yeah.
You almost like
And
with the lanterns and
And someone correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure this part of the world doesn't do funerals that way. I think it's like the way they do it in Cambodia or like or the Philippines, not in China.
Yeah, I really think a lot of that too was just
Like a mishmash of stuff.
yeah,
like,
and they wanted it to be visual. They wanted they
so who cares? So screw accuracy, because none of us were there at that time. Like, well, why don't they still do it then?
right.
If it's such a part of entrenched in their culture, why don't they do it?
You're right. Yeah.
Oh wait, because they've never done it. It didn't come from that part of the world.
Even with the accuracy of that, I just felt like that scene was. It had bad timing.
Yeah.
You were not emotionally invested in the general. You didn't feel for him dying.
It didn't tie in at all to the story or the plot. Yeah.
It would have been different if he died while sacrificing for the type of greater good because he was old school and that's how they do it back. That's how they did it.
Yeah.
Or something something noble.
Well, he did. He sacrificed for her because
Yeah.
they killed the thing. But this is what kills me. This is what kills
But
me.
there
What
was
killed
no
him.
payoff though. That's what I mean. There was no real payoff for that sacrifice because she technically could have died because she has no role in the movie.
No, she's one of the crane corporals, which is like the most useless defense.
Yeah,
Anything they show you that they do in that wall, and that's what I was going to say back when you showed with the gunpowder. So the general who dies makes a statement saying that this isn't the enemy that we fought 60 years ago, meaning like they got smarter from the last time they attacked us.
Right, yeah.
So even if you didn't assume that, but they attack, okay, boom, you've got black powder, you've got gunpowder.
Yeah.
Why don't you just line the field?
That's what. Yeah.
Like, and you're like, oh, we weren't from the attack for 9 days. Okay, so 9 months prior. Why aren't you 9 years prior?
Yeah.
Or okay, I get it. Weather, rain, snow.
Or you would not have built a wall, like you would built the wall, but then you would have had columns that stretched out from the wall.
Yeah.
So the enemy would be bottlenecked into multiple lanes.
Yeah.
Almost like an ice tray.
Yeah.
Okay. If you take off one wall of an ice tray.
Yeah.
You have the perfect defense for these enemies because they would be channeling into single lane. The wall would come here.
You have sections of the wall.
And then you would have this jettison now. So now you have multiple coverage by the art. No way. I figured it out.
And they showed them using like a hot like tar. It's not even a tar, but it was like a hot liquid.
Yeah.
That was flammable.
Like oil or maybe something.
And whatever it is.
Kerosene, probably.
And they light it. So why couldn't you pour that down the chutes on the wall that spills onto them?
Yeah.
You shoot one arrow, you're going to kill 20 of them.
It's like what they do in Braveheart.
Yeah. At the castle, which they've been doing for probably 1,000 years already. I'm like, what? I would have been a great general leader. I don't know what to tell you, but
yeah. So this movie would have suspended all disbelief. Period. If it was, believe it or not, if it was more over the top when it comes to the fantasy element of the soldiers,
the killing of the creatures.
If the killing of the creatures, I do like the design for the creatures because they had that the Chinese emblem like the relief on their heads.
Yeah.
They looked like they were like sculptures that you might get at a flea market.
Yeah.
With a bonsai tree attached to its ass, come to life. I thought they were
That's
cool,
funny.
but I would again
their explanation for where these things came from too is so weak.
No, that was the worst. I think that was the worst part.
A meteor hit the mountain, turned the mountain green, and then they came.
Yeah.
What kind of an explanation?
Yeah,
is that?
it was almost like it kind of potentially would be like the meteor had spores and the spores mutated and reproduced from the from what was around the mountain or something it's just weird. But the a lot of times it's kind of funny. So, and this does make me sad because I think
This does make me sad.
there was a time where that part of the world, Chinese, South Korea, and Japan, when they would design something and put it out, it blew your mind. Like going from Fist of the North Star, Akira, Final Fantasy VII, the whole Final Fantasy series 7 and up, where like the creature designs for Resident Evil are just mind-boggling, and they're groundbreaking. And this movie was almost like a cheap version of what some of those designs could have been, because movies that come from the East for me should have this flamboyant, and we saw it in some of the armor, like the guy that had the fire,
there's so much intricacy and so much detail, attention to detail with the armor, and that whole setup, and then it's like that seemed to be the only thing that had any kind of prevalent part of that in it. Attention to detail.
I just wish the creatures had different, how cool would it have been if some of the creatures had different functions and they were different colors, the same as the soldiers were. And,
or
and
even if the ones that
somewhat mirrored,
or even if the ones that protected the queen, the higher, they could spit fire or something.
Yeah, or something. Well,
or something
because I think the one movie to compare this to that I think does it extremely well versus this, when it just comes to the attack and the escalation of the enemy, throughout the movie, is Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Where it starts with the bugs,
Yep.
and then introduces the ones that shoot the glowing shit out of their ass. And
shoot meteors into space.
Yeah, and they're knocking down warships.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo.
And the ones that are giant mosquitoes.
The giant mosquitoes, yeah, okay, because they
and then you got the brain bug.
Well, yeah, so it's actually the drones, the mosquitoes, the ass shooters, and then it's the brain bug, and there's this escalation where you're by the time you get to the brain bug, you're almost
this makes sense.
And you feel like you journey through a video game. You made it through the levels, and you're like, yo, this is But dude, those ass shooters are, dude.
The craziest part were the ass shooters the same ones that had the lava laser on the front.
Yeah, they were these. They were the Beatles.
Dude, they were the enforcers of the entire thing.
Yeah, but then again too, they're awesome because they're slow. And
but
again,
big as shit though.
But a video game, you're slow, you're quick, you got a chance.
Yeah,
and that's where the Starship Troopers will forever resonate, because it triggers that geek stuff.
Yeah,
just on paper.
Yeah,
and then the
what color paper? White paper.
White paper.
Got to find a way to work it in.
Always, yeah. We're all here. We're all here for documentation and admin work. But yeah, so I don't know. So
I was here for movies. I don't know about you.
Yeah. So in all, this is one of the few times that you and I would not recommend a movie.
Yeah.
This might be our first non-recommendation.
It was bound to happen eventually. That? Yeah.
And we went against the grain on. I mean, you and I right now sit down. We recommend King Arthur.
Yeah.
In all, because dude, especially in the beginning of King Arthur with those elephants,
dude,
badass. And I kind of like the guy who directed King Arthur, his Guy Ritchie. Yeah. He did Snatch. Okay.
Yep.
People hated it, but I like that he has the Snatch flashback storytelling, quick pace.
Yep.
In King Arthur world, surrounded by these extreme fantasy elements.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of this mix mash, and I kind of was digging it when I was watching it.
And the crazy thing is, there's still, and that's the funny thing, where there's parts about that we could take apart, and we can go back, and this wasn't really explained enough, or I don't really, they tried to explain it, but they really didn't. And even with all that, was a way better movie than what we just watched, and they try to explain a lot more, and in essence, give you just nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just nonsense, doesn't line up, doesn't make you feel like you actually understand anything.
Yeah.
And it just leaves you feeling like, wow, why did I just watch that?
Yeah, I really feel like there is always a difference, and it's not a cultural difference when it comes to movies made in the East versus movies made here in the West. And that big difference is there's almost a lack of like fluidity within the story to where characters are expressing more of themselves. They're putting more of their lives at risk throughout the plot. The plot actually grows and gets more complicated, even though like they're formulaic plots, but I don't really believe in that.
Yeah.
But the plot usually like evolves and stacks on top of itself.
Yeah.
Where like, and in this movie, like the reasons why it doesn't resonate is because they're made by people who come from cultures that don't support there's no individuals in that culture. It's a suppressive society. So the stories that come out of there are mostly just very basic.
Yeah.
They're very basic, and usually the best movies that come out of those countries aren't big movies like this. They're very like small drama, basic type movies, because that's kind of like the best they can do.
Yeah,
because the stories have to be small because it
can't apply to the large mass.
Yeah. And essentially too, it's a small culture. It's a small movie. Like like bigger the culture, the more freedom, the more liberty, the more of this like freedom of expression you will have. Yeah. And that is why American movies the world watches, and we get the Great Wall, and Mark and I watch it. The only two guys I streamed it from HBO app in the last month.
Maybe
I just feel like someone got like an email alert tonight. like
one more watch.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we got
50 more and I get a bonus.
Yeah, it's like there's some whiteboard in the HBO offices that there's like an over under for the Great Wall like streaming on demand.
Now let me ask you this: and this is what this is the thing that makes me laugh. I'd love to see. Or understand or hear the story or whatever.
Yeah.
About how the only three white guys in this movie are the three highest name actors in this movie.
Yeah.
And how they got sold on this screenplay.
Yeah. So a lot.
What greenlit this for Matt Damon? So first off, because he's the biggest name on the on the docket.
I would say like some of it too. So this movie too is a part of the studio that made this is Legendary. Legendary was a U.S. studio.
Yeah.
Okay? They were bought by China, not a Chinese company. China bought Legendary.
China, the country?
Yeah.
Like the government of China.
Well, in so many words, yes. Okay?
No, that's not so many. That's one word. That's a yes or no. Yes.
Well, no, I mean, like, there's the Republic of China doesn't buy it. Like, one of their fronts buy it. They've
it's the shell company,
like a government sponsored company buys it. Yeah,
but literally the government pays them.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the government fronts the money.
Well, that's
the money. The government filters the money through this company, but it's essentially still the government.
But that's how China works.
Yeah,
China picks and chooses.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the thing, so essentially, like China bought that, so they bought this American film company.
Interesting.
So the idea was that they were going to
keep producing all this stuff that it was already doing.
Well, a lot of it too is like it's like culture wars, meaning that they want to make this big Chinese movie for American audiences in the world and start to kind of like start that process
and start to matter in that industry.
Yeah, but it never works. And the reason why it never works is for the reasons why I told you, because your culture itself doesn't respond to the things that make a good story. Like your culture doesn't provide freedom for its people.
So how angry are they going to be when Rush Hour 4 like destroys this movie? Dude, in regards to like the numbers,
these people hate it. Well, these people hate it too. Like people think it's the other way around. So people think when like Transformers incorporates China.
Yeah.
In its storyline, or like Chinese actors and stuff like that, they're like, China's getting over on the. It's like no. They like the Western filmmakers are just like, oh, you'll give us this much like money if we just do this, and then they're like, they go to the story guys and like, yeah, can you move this like to China? Like we need one scene in Shanghai or Hong Kong, like wherever. Yeah. Like we just need
two scenes. Yeah,
we need it there, and the guy's like, oh, really? But look, dude, you got paid a lot of money to write this movie. If it plays in China, like you're gonna have like 4 more zeros connected to your other 6 zeros.
So just 2 scenes in China?
Yeah, and the guy's like,
I think we could do that.
And the guy's like done by the time he's like,
you're still talking. He's like, all right, I figured it out.
He's like, here you go, right here.
He's like, this scene, this scene, this scene.
Yeah.
In China.
Yeah, so and that's
Here's the backstory.
and that's like that's the process. We saw it with like Dark Knight Rises and stuff like that too, where like China becomes a factor as a marketplace, but that's all it is to American filmmakers. China's just a marketplace.
Yeah.
It's not a destination. It's just like another pie that's like coming out of the oven in the kitchen. Like,
And the crazy thing is it can.
that was maybe a bad analogy, but yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, if you think about it, I mean, I don't know. I like the fact that I saw Batman on a building in China.
Yeah,
taking a dude back to Gotham.
It
was a cool.
The Dark Knight, not Dark Knight Rises, but yeah, right. That was
dude, it was a cool scene.
Yeah.
Like, it was a cool scene. I like the setup. I mean, could you have cut that out of the movie or played it a different way,
or
like,
made it in like another U.S. city?
Yeah,
of course. But the thing is, though, that's the point I'm getting at. Where like sometimes when you give that to the writer or like to Christopher Nolan, the director of Batman or Dark Knight, they're almost like, okay, well, yeah, I'll do it. But then it's like, you're like, how do I explain that?
Yeah.
And then you put that into the story, and then you have like a couple additional scenes, and then it becomes like this whole arc.
Yeah.
And that's how, like, I don't think any of that harmed any movie.
No.
I think the opposite harmed this movie.
Yeah.
Which it had such a clear, faulty intent, and it was trying so hard. Even the guy who directed this, I think his first movie was like in 1981 or like hold up here. The guy who directed this movie, his first movie that he directed, 1987. How fresh do you think this guy's eyes are?
Yeah.
To make a movie that was supposed to have been like a
and
cool.
What was the movie?
Red Sorghum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, all of his movies are foreign, except for he made one movie with Christian Bale called The Flowers of War in 2011. And that was a foreign movie that Christian Bale was in.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, it's 2016 when this movie came out. So from 87 to 2016, this guy is way too old to
and not a fresh take, and he's going to be an old school mindset in regards to this kind of stuff. And it's coming from his culture. Dude, and no offense, I don't give a shit if the movie's based something in your culture or not. You like just an older person, older world person. I mean, is just not going to have a fresh enough take to be like, this just isn't clicking. We gotta rework some stuff.
There's probably 80 American filmmakers I would want to make this movie.
Wow, 80?
Even with the same intention.
Wow.
Even with the same intention.
And the same plot line, the same story line.
like hey, we need to force feed people like China stuff and make it seem cool because this company, because the country just bought this American film company.
Yeah.
And they're like,
so this is getting done.
Yeah. And
whether we want it or not, so we got to make it good.
Yeah. And then, I would probably 80 people.
80 people. I can't even think of 8 people, but okay.
Yeah.
I mean, sweet.
Okay. And they're all young guys.
Yeah.
Okay. And I might be exaggerating a little, but if I sat down, I know I could make the list and I'll tell you what movies they made.
I mean, at the end of the day, even out of 8 people.
Yeah.
Any of those 8 could have easily done a better job with what they had and who they had. And the other thing whose direction was it to make Matt Damon have like the weirdest, most fake accent? It was like a fake, forced Australian accent.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too.
He didn't even carry out the entire movie. It was like a bits and pieces.
Yeah, and you have this joint production, and he's a foreigner on the set. So who's going to catch him?
Yeah.
Like who's going to be like, look, you gotta say that again.
Like, and not only that, who's going to call bullshit on Matt Damon?
Right.
Besides the director. Yeah. That's the only person that's going to call bullshit.
So speaking of that, before we sign off, so domestically, this movie, we'll just round up. We'll say made $46 million.
46?
$46 million. The budget was $150. Worldwide, it did $335. So it did make its money back.
It doubled its money.
It doubled, yeah.
Well, we're not including advertising into that, is it?
No, it's usually double 0.5, so it's double 1/2. So there was money lost, but it's not a disaster. Like
they were close to a break-even point.
Yeah,
They might have broken even.
It's
We don't, because this didn't get advertised that much. Like, so it did get some advertisement. So, let's just say it broke even.
yeah. I mean,
Let's give benefit of the doubt and let's say they literally broke even on it.
yeah. I would just say the way how this movie's portrayed, it's not as bad as it's portrayed, and financially it did okay. It actually, I think it did fine financially. My knock against this movie is that the intent behind the movie, that I just believe
They took another step backwards as opposed to forwards.
Yeah, I mean, I really think if they wanted to make a movie that was thrilling, crazy, wild, entertaining, with insane visuals that really spoke of that part of the world, like especially like
Hangover 4
yeah,
in Beijing. You're right. I'm thinking the same thing.
Hangover 2. You're thinking of Rush Hour 4.
No, I'm thinking of Hangover 4.
Oh, you're thinking of that.
There's only 3 of them.
There were 3, yeah. Well, the second one takes place in China, right?
No, it's Thailand.
Is it Thailand?
It's Thailand, Bangkok, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, so we'll just I kind of I feel bad signing off
Negatively?
really not liking this. Yeah, but we'll sign off. Mark and I promise we'll love the next movie we discuss.
I don't have to promise that. The odds are that we're gonna.
Yeah.
The odds are we're gonna love the next movie.
I would like us to
watch more bad movies we don't like. Is that,
yeah, no,
you want to even the scales
I just
more?
want us to watch a movie we're enjoying that inspires us to drink alcohol while we're watching it, despite the situation of that time that we're drinking alcohol.
This made me want to drink alcohol, not to forget I watched the movie.
Yeah.
Like, jeez. I want to be able to not remember what I just watched.
Yeah,
I don't say it about anything, and I watch movies. You know me.
I know.
I watch movies 40 times in a row. I'll watch the same movie.
Yeah, you love movies, but
And still-
same here,
and still like the
Same
movie.
here, yeah. So
I can't get enough of X-Men Apocalypse.
I just think this
I
movie.
just can't.
This movie had no big set pieces. It had no wow moments, and by the time the characters were marching towards the third act, when they were chasing the creatures that broke through the wall, that's kind of like the beginning of the third act.
Yeah.
Is when there was no vested interest in who lived, who died, who got saved, who didn't get saved.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on. Dream Warrior 77. That's all, folks.
Whoop, whoop.